So, obviously we're talking about Korea. No. I wanted to tell you that the prediction of an increase in tariffs against those nations that have chosen to contribute to the security of Greenland, in my opinion, is a mistake. And that's what I'm working on. I spoke with Donald Trump a few hours ago and told him what I think, and I spoke with the NATO Secretary General, who confirms that NATO is starting to work on this from this perspective. Throughout the day, I will also speak with European leaders. I believe a meeting has been called for now at Coreper level of the European Union, but I think at this stage it's crucial to communicate and to avoid escalation, because we can work together to achieve a goal that is useful and necessary for everyone. So, obviously we're talking about Korea. No. I wanted to tell you that the prediction of an increase in tariffs against those nations that have chosen to contribute to the security of Greenland, in my opinion, is a mistake. And obviously I do not agree with it. I share the attention that the American presidency gives, as I've told you many times, to Greenland and to the Arctic in general, which is a strategic area where clearly we must avoid excessive interference from potentially hostile actors. But I believe that in this sense, we should interpret the desire of some European countries to send troops to participate in a greater level of security, not in the sense, let's say, of an initiative directed against the United States, but rather perhaps against other actors. It seems quite clear to me that there has been a problem of understanding and communication on this. As for me, I continue to insist on the role of NATO. It is NATO, the very place where we must collectively strive to organize effective instruments of deterrence against potentially hostile interferences within a territory that is quite clearly strategic. And I believe that the fact that NATO has begun to address this issue is a positive step. And precisely for this reason, because NATO has started this work, I think it would be a mistake today to impose new sanctions. I think we need to resume dialogue on this instead, avoid an escalation from this point of view. And that's what I'm working on. I spoke with Donald Trump a few hours ago and told him what I think, and I spoke with the NATO Secretary General, who confirms that NATO is starting to work on this from this perspective. Throughout the day, I will also speak with European leaders. I believe a meeting has been called for now at Coreper level of the European Union, but I think at this stage it's crucial to communicate and to avoid escalation, because we can work together to achieve a goal that is useful and necessary for everyone.
President, could you tell us what Donald Trump said to you when you spoke? Did he express, let's say, anything specific?
Prejudices.
Look, what I said, I believe that the message that was coming from Europe was not clear. This is the perception I had, that the reason, which was positive from my point of view, was not clear. You see, regarding the initiatives that were being carried out, that's why I'm saying that, in my opinion, there's also a problem of, I can say, regarding the interpretation of what was being done. Therefore, I believe that on this, the clarity that in these hours, I don't know if you've seen, for example, the President of Finland, Alexander Stubb, the clarity that some leaders are providing in these hours, I believe, can be useful from this point of view.
Why is Trump making such important statements?
Well, I replied to her. I replied after that. I can't give you a verbatim account of what my counterpart tells me, right?
He found a complete acceptance in the person.
Well, it seemed he was interested in listening, but it seemed that from an American point of view, the message that had arrived from this side, from this shore of the Atlantic, wasn't clear. Well, anyway, it seems to me that the risk, you see, is that the initiatives of some European countries would be interpreted as, I might say, anti-American. However, that was not the intention that was held. Clearly, the actors that are concerning are completely different for everyone, right? But this message, it seemed to me, was not at all clear.
President, if I may, given that Europe has said it will hear in the coming hours about movements in Europe, do you think that also because of Trump's position and that Europeans even want to increase their let's say, bilateral presence in Greenland, or at least send a signal in this regard. And in Italy's case, given that the situation seems to have changed a bit in the sense that, well,
is there also a possibility American threats could participate in these signs of unity, let's say, with Europeans?
But honestly, I've already given you my answer. I don't believe the issue here is to create an escalation at this moment. I think it's rather about trying to engage in a dialogue. And if my interpretation is indeed correct, that is to say that on the American side there is a significant concern regarding excessive interference in a strategically important area, and from the European perspective there is a clear willingness to provide assistance in tackling this problem, which is also our own, then the correct approach is not, shall we say, to engage in discussions amongst ourselves, but rather to work together to address a concern that involves each and every one of us. So I think, let's say, it's currently too early to talk about it, because I'm working to try to, on my part, lower the tension, you see, and return to dialogue.
And if there are also... I'd like to add a point regarding the upcoming appointments, perhaps even specifically with the presence of Trump in Europe.
No, for now I'm not aware of any scheduled appointments. We'll have to see what happens in the coming hours, but currently I have no information. As you've seen, we were also invited to be part of the Board of Peace, naturally. So regarding this, what I've always told you still holds true. Oh, no. You weren't aware of that. My apologies. No.
Well, I'm a bit lost with time zones. So yes, Italy was also invited to participate in the Board of Peace. So I'm giving you this news myself.
It's clear that what we've always said holds true, Amalevos, and I believe Italy can play a prominent role in the construction of the peace plan, and therefore we are prepared to do our part. And moreover, it appears to be a very active player in the region, as you know, maintaining good relations with all other regional actors. And so, by all means, we are happy, and we will certainly do our very best to give our contribution, which we believe can truly make a difference.
Tommaso, sorry, last minute.
The security decree, Duma, widely discussed in Italy with many controversies, whether it will be addressed by the Council of Ministers when he returns to Italy.
Marco, the security decree, look, you know, you know that I told you, well, during the press conference at the start of the year, that security would be one of my main focuses for this year. What I didn't tell you on that occasion, well, because it wasn't really necessary, already before Christmas I had met Minister Piantedosi, and I had agreed with Minister Piantedosi to work on a new measure. Broad with some priorities. I cited, for example, the priority of youth gangs, the crackdown on youth gangs always in the press conference. I told Minister Piantedosi to obviously also gather the proposals coming from the majority. I am now convening a meeting upon my return to review the measure. I don't know if it will be ready for the next Council of Ministers, but we certainly intend to work on it.
President, excuse me, I'll read you a statement from the League that was released this afternoon. More tests on Trump.
Yes.
The Smerda denounces sending troops to the bitter harvest. It's good for Italy to have stayed out of this warmongering, a shameful word. Now, it seems to me that this doesn't align with your position. I ask what you think about it, and if there's a political problem with the League on this point.
There is no political problem with the League regarding this point. Thank you and goodbye.
Goodbye, and thank you.
Subscribe to One India and never miss an update. Download the One India app now.